Hello again. I'm Dennis Fogarty, realtor for Coldwell Banker down in here in Naples, Florida. And I'm here today with Matt Goodwin from the Goodwin Law Firm. And what we'd like to do is, first of all, have Matt introduce himself a little bit and then get into some education and good information about the role of lawyers in the home buying process and home selling process. Matt?
Yes, thank you, Dennis. My name is Matt Goodwin. I'm a local real estate attorney, handle real estate transactions through my law firm, Goodwin Law, PA, throughout the state of Florida. Office is located here in Naples, Florida. I'm also on the Legal Resources Committee with the Naples Board of Realtors, where we educate, the goal is to educate realtors, and a lot of the brokers and attorneys in county will sit once a month in meetings to discuss that. I'm the chair of the real estate section of the Collier County Bar Association as well for the 2016-2017 year.
Okay, great. One of the first questions that many buyers and sellers have is in the state of Florida and in Collier County, must I have a lawyer involved in my process?
And the short answer to that question is no. You don't have to have one, but it's highly recommended. A lot of the work in Florida is done by title companies in many other areas of the state. In Collier County or in Southwest Florida, you'll see more real estate attorneys involved in the process, but we do the same thing as a title company. The reason it would be beneficial to have a lawyer instead of a title company is if there's a legal issue that comes up, you don't need to hire an outside attorney to answer a question. For instance, if I were handling the closing and there was an issue that came up on a question on how to take title, the implications of it, you could ask me directly and you're not going to get a bill in the mail for my time. It's sort of built into the service that we provide.
One of the, I certainly know as just a layman, a private citizen, almost any time I pick up a legal document, I get a little anxiety because I'm reading it and it's written in legalese, and then I start to wonder, gee, am I understanding that line? Or it says, fill in a line here, and I'm not sure exactly what information it's asking me for. So it's a stressful time for me. How do you work with your customers to ease that?
Well, the first thing I can do is what you just said, is ease that and provide them peace of mind that they have a second set of eyes looking at their documents. One of the most common overlooked things is when that contract is initially drafted and there's an offer made, there's blanks on the contract, or there is an item of personal property that was supposed to be included and wasn't, or there was an addendum that was attached but wasn't referenced in the contract. What I explain is before you have that offer submitted, I tell this to the realtors that I work with and the individuals that don't have realtors, is let me look at that offer for you and I'll do it quickly. In other words, you call me, you tell me you're about to submit an offer, understanding the importance of having it submitted on time, I will take a look at it for you and see if anything's missed. Mm-hmm. And I get some of the realtors that I work with that they're prone to make mistakes. One, because they're either not thorough, or two, because it's trying to be done so fast. So you get a second set of eyes to look at things, and you're not getting charged extra for it.
That's good advice. I like that. Now, exactly. I mean, a real estate transaction can take a lot of time. The seller puts his home up for a listing. It goes out in the MLS, and agents start bringing buyers over. Finally, you get to the point where a buyer is kind of liking the property, and then they make an offer, and then they go to contract, and then off to the races. Where in that process is the right time to bring a lawyer in?
Well, if you have an option before you even start looking for the home, is the time to contact the lawyer that you'd like to help you. And the reason that is perfect is because, one, you may not have a realtor that you know and trust at that point, and that real estate attorney can recommend one to you who's already vetted that realtor out. The other thing is that they can help you with your mortgage financing and put you in touch with a qualified mortgage broker. to help you. There's so many options out there that can help direct that decision for you. When it comes to timing though, not everybody has the luxury, and sometimes it just happens where you have a realtor that you worked with. The next best time to involve the lawyer would be before you submit that offer, which is what I was just hinting on, because when the offer is submitted, if something is left out, then you have to go back to the table and get an amendment drawn up. And let's just put it this way. I mean, there's enough things involved in the process. You won't have to be signing amendments.
Sure.
It's one thing to require an extension if something happens closer to the closing date that requires an extension. Right. It's another thing to have to get multiple extensions or to have to get amendments made to something that could have been addressed from the very beginning.
Okay. Now, it sounds like it's a menu of services. Some people may want you from the very beginning till the very end. Some people may want to jump in at the contract stage and go through the closing. Some people may want to have you around just to consult, I guess. What do you find is the most common, and I imagine there's different cost levels for the different types of participation you might have?
It depends on whether it's the buyer or the seller contacting me in terms of what they were looking for. If it's the seller contacting me, they may they may need somebody to prepare their legal documents for them. One of the big things that comes up is if someone's taking title or conveying out of their name as a trustee in a trust. Well, if you don't have a lawyer involved, there's so many mistakes that can go wrong with how the title is either transferred or how it's conveyed into that trust.
Mm-hmm.
The other issues that could come up for the seller is if there's some open permits and they don't know how to address it, the buyer wants it addressed, you can get counsel on that. We can also review some of the issues that come up on title when the title commitment and the title search is complete and help you clear title. Because the seller's responsibility, aside from being honest and dealing in good faith, is to provide marketable title to the buyer. Now, from a buyer's perspective, the representation involves reviewing the contract, advising them on specific language if there needs to be something that's not already drafted in one of the forms or addendums. One of the things that NABOR does and Legal Resource Committee is in charge of is drafting these amendments and these additional documents that you can use, and because all the issues have already been anticipated. And we take those suggestions every 2 years and make those forms.
Okay, that's good. What would I expect to have to pay for a lawyer such as yourself?
Well, if I'm hired to do title and escrow and we're handling the closing, you're going to pay a flat fee from anywhere between $495 up to $800.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I give you a range is because it really just depends on where you're at in the process. If we are not handling title and escrow, you're going to be at the higher end of that. If we are handling title and escrow, you're going to be at the lower end. And we do, Goodwin Law, myself personally, we charge flat fees if all we're doing is representing. If we're handling title and escrow, you won't see a separate attorney fee. So that really is your only fee. It's a settlement fee or a doc prep fee if you're the seller.
That doesn't sound like a lot of money for having the surety of a professional knowing the laws and being able to represent someone. Ever run into a situation where your participation saved your client some money?
Yes, I have. There was a second mortgage on a property. This was a post-foreclosure property. This was in Lee County. And this has happened a couple different occasions. This one stood out to me because the second mortgage had a huge balance on it, and if it had to be paid off in full, there would have been an extra $20-something thousand that the seller would have had to pay. So I contacted the county attorney for Lee County, and we negotiated a short payoff on this, and we saved them over $20,000 on that payoff. That's one scenario where we help the seller out. Another issue is if there is an unpermitted addition that's made and the buyer's not comfortable with it, we can help get the seller to either permit it or give a credit at closing. And that really brings me to a good point. One of the biggest things that we can do is help you get either credits or give or not give the appropriate credits when either the buyer or the seller asked for them. I'll give you one example. If there's an inspection done and it's 150 pages and if I'm representing the seller, the buyer's real estate agent says, we would like these repairs to be made. Well, the seller wants to know whether they're contractually obligated to make those repairs. Nobody really knows. So you have to look at the contract.
Right.
You have to review any amendments that were made, and
Right.
you have to make a good faith decision. And in most cases, if you price the property as is, you can refuse to make certain repairs, and it won't kill your deal. So there's ways that we can sort of get creative when an issue does arise.
Okay. Matt, that's great information. Would you tell everybody what your phone number is, so when they watch this a second and a third time, they'll know how to reach you down here?
Sure. Well, first of all, my offices are located at 3021 Airport Pulling Road. We're across from Gray Oaks Community, north of Golden Gate, south of Pine Ridge. Our phone number is 239-207-3403. If you have a direct question after hours, you can reach me on my cell at 239-285-2389.
That's great. I hope that this has been informative for any of you who are watching it, who are in the buying or the selling process, because the more information we can give you, the more comfortable you'll be with your transactions. Okay, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.